Citi Field in New York. Pix 11 presents New York Mets baseball. Tonight, the Mets play the New York Yankees. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by the Hyundai Summer Clearance Event, going on now at your Hyundai dealer. By Spectrum, join America's fastest growing TV, internet, and voice provider. By Toyota, tested, trusted Toyota. Let's go places. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, more science, less fear. And by your tri-state area Land Rover retailer. Well, New York baseball has produced some iconic figures over the last century and a half. Jackie Robinson, Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Mets stars like Tom Seaver. Recent Yankees like Don Mattingly. Oh, Keith Hernandez. And he's thick in there. Piazza, Jeter. Big names all. And as the Subway Series reaches its conclusion in 2017, who will be the next wave of stars who are remembered in that kind of iconic fashion? We've certainly seen plenty from Aaron Judge, at least they have in the upper deck at Citi Field. Gary Sanchez has made his mark on this series. Ahmed Rosario just getting started with his major league career. He's shown off. And Michael Conforto, who's the next iconic star? And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets and Yankees wrap up the Subway Series. The Yankees have taken the first three. All three games decided by 1 or 2 runs, but the most stark contrast between these two teams so far in this series has been the bullpens. The Yankee bullpen has been impenetrable. The Mets bullpen has been only so-so.
Well, first for the Mets, Familia is not on that right side of the page. That's why they've had one of the reasons they've had a tough year. But when you look at the Yankees and what they've done in this series, forget about the left-handers. Chapman's the only one that struggled. Smith and Shreve haven't pitched in the game. But Robertson has changed his game a little bit. Not as many cutters, more curveballs, still dominant. Adam Warren showed last night the things that he can do with his 3-2 slider precision. Chad Green was a big part in game one, a guy who can come in and he's striking out about 50% of his batters. And Betances, of course, when he's on, really unhittable.
So when you're facing a team that has a formidable bullpen like the Yankees, what is your team's approach?
Well, there's so much information today, and you can see the guys going to their hitting coaches, going to the book. In our day, we didn't have that. So my approach always, and it's so much more important today, the bullpens, obviously, than in my time, although there were good bullpens, is you got to go up to the plate. If you don't know what the guy has, you got to go up there with the idea that you've got an 0-2 count on you, and you've got to bear down. Your back's against the wall, and most of the time when you're facing these relievers, it's late and close with the men on base. It's an RBI situation. I certainly don't want to take a pitch and go 0-1.
And to make the test more formidable for the Mets tonight, they go up against the Yankee pitcher who's had the best results this year. Steven Matz will be on the mound for the Mets, hoping to build off a positive effort in his last start.
You know, it was a positive effort. His breaking ball is much sharper. Fastball had a little more on it. Still has to pitch better with men in scoring position. And Luis Severino has been the ace of the Yankees all season long. Although he gave up 10 runs in 4 1/3 against the Red Sox in his last start, he has been good almost all year long.
So the Mets try to scratch in the finale of this Subway Series and avoid getting swept by the Yankees for just the second time since the Subway Series began. Mets and Yankees, all the action on Pix 11. is brought to you by Optimum, now with internet speeds up to 4 times faster. Themes of the game brought to you by the Hyundai Summer Clearance Event, New York, New York.
Well, the Mets, their last 11 games, more than 80% of their runs are coming via the home run. Steven Matz, those numbers are not good. He would love to end his last 5-6 weeks in the big leagues with some good starts. And you'd have to catch the 4 train, then the 7 for Luis Severino if you're coming from the Bronx. And he loves pitching on the road.
Severino just 23 years old. He's been on his game this year. Steven Matz trying to match him tonight and get the Mets a win before the Subway Series ends. First pitch is coming right up. Of last night's game at Citi Field, tightly fought contest. Mets rallied twice. Rene Rivera with a home run, fans out in force, but it was Didi Gregorius who had the big hit. Bases loaded double in the 7th that plated the go-ahead runs, and the Yankee bullpen did the rest. And now the Yankees, who swept the Mets 6 games in 2003, trying for their 2nd ever Subway Series sweep. Beautiful feel for the slope of the mound from behind Steven Matz.
Very nice.
The Yankees lineup brought to you by Toyota Let's Go Places. Tyler Austin was just recalled today. Garrett Cooper went on the disabled list with a hamstring injury, so Austin takes his place and plays first base. Brett Gardner back in the lineup after sitting last night. So is Todd Frazier. Ronald Torreyes has had a big impact on this series for the Yankees.
Well, you see the numbers on Steven Matz, 15 and 14 on his career. It has been a difficult slog for Matz. The one thing, though, that we have seen is that since he's come back, he has been healthy. Now he's got to work on performance.
And the defense brought to you by Nissan. That's Conforto's first start in center field. Matt Reynolds just recently recalled, with Reyes on the DL. Will play third base, and Darno behind the plate.
Brett Gardner getting set to lead things off. The Yankees, with their win last night, stayed 3 games ahead of the Angels for the first wild card in the American League, with 7 teams tightly bunched behind Anaheim.
Of all those teams, I don't think any of them are either not tied either, right? No, they are. Minnesota, Seattle are.
Well, that's because the Twins lost their day game today.
Right.
to Cleveland. They're playing a day-night doubleheader, so they were not tied when the day began.
That's right.
Now they are. Well, there's certainly plenty of opportunity for a whole host of teams there. Steven Matz set to go. Brett Gardner leading off, and the first pitch is outside, and we're underway. Matz in that last start in Philadelphia on Saturday held the Phillies without a hit for the first 4 innings. Phillies bunched 4 hits to score 2 runs against him in the 5th, but it was a big step forward for Steven.
Subway Series has got to mean a little more for a guy like Steven Matz than any of the other Mets, right?
He has faced the Yankees twice before. A win and a loss.
Well,
and he's behind the leadoff hitter 3-0.
You mentioned, Gary, they're going for the sweep, and you know it's extra salt on the wound when it's a 4-game sweep.
Ooh.
Those are his starts against the Yankees. The one last year, the opposition starting pitcher for the Yankees, and I didn't remember this till I read it today, was Chad Green.
That's right.
It was so impressive in relief in this series. And then Severino came in relief of Green, and he was brilliant and wound up getting the win. 3-2 to Gardner. Gardner's really struggled against lefties this year, more than he has at any time in his career. Just 177 against left-handers this year.
Funny how that works. Trying to pull off the ball and hit home runs makes you vulnerable to left-handed pitching.
Well, what I've seen so far in this series is he's very defensive against the lefties.
Taps one weakly. Matz off the mound, and a high throw sails down the line, and Gardner will go to second. Now Matz is a pitcher who generally fields his position extremely well, but he airmailed that throw, a 2-base error to start the night.
Well, he's such a fine athlete. I think where he made the mistake, when you turn around like that, you can't just lob it to first. I think he tried to take a little off instead of firing it to Dominic Smith, and that's why it went wild.
Nice effort by Dom to try and keep it from going down the line, but because it went over his glove, Gardner gets 2 bases out of it. And that's how this one begins. So Matz has to catch his breath and now face Aaron Hicks. Hicks, a switch hitter, batting right-handed, .293 from the right side, a little better than from the left side. And he thinks about a bunt and takes outside. Now Matt Reynolds is playing third base, and he's got plenty of experience there. Unlike last night's third baseman / second baseman for the Mets. Reynolds just called up today. So was Gavin Cecchini. They were both activated after the Mets were short of infielders last night. Jose Reyes on the DL. Dustin McGowan, relief pitcher, sent back to Vegas. Taken high by Hicks, and it's 2-0.
You know what's interesting is that with the runner on second and the fake of the bunt by Hicks, who's now 2-0, and it will be swinging. Even after he faked the bunt, Dominic Smith did not move at first base. Did not come in a couple of steps.
It's an American League team. I'd be shocked if he'd be bunting early. It's a big power hitting guy, strong kid.
And Matz, who was behind Gardner 3-0, falls behind Hicks 3-0. So not the best of beginnings for Steven, with Aaron Judge looming on deck. Matz's error was his first of the season, just the second of his major league career. And you can imagine he might be a little discombobulated right now. Throws a strike to Hicks, 3-1. Hicks having a breakout season with the Yankees, former Minnesota Twins prospect who has blossomed this year despite some injuries. Now takes a look at Gardner, who's stolen 15 bases this year at age 33. Hicks draws a walk, and the Yankees have the first 2 men on. So not the beginning that Steven was envisioning, and now Judge will step to the plate with 2 men aboard. Well, you can hear how many Yankee fans are in the building tonight, and those who were here last night still talking about where Judge hit the ball last night. It was up right near that 536 marker. Just an incredible home run, the longest one hit in that direction since this ballpark opened.
nervous start so far for Matz, or so it seems to me.
And he starts Judge off with a slider for a strike.
Well, the hanging slider from Gazelman, and that's where it landed, folks. That was a moonshot. Number 37 leads the American League.
And he throws the fastball by him. Interesting that Matt started Judge off with a slider, a pitch that he's rarely used this year, and then he comes back with the fastball.
Well, this is his vulnerable place. Keith knows he's a down hitter, likes the ball down.
Gardner at second, Hicks at first with nobody out. Gary Sanchez waiting on deck. Garneau sets up inside. And Matz throws it outside, and Judge strikes out for the first out of the night. And for the 34th consecutive game, extending his major league record.
Stayed upstairs. He meant to come in, but it's all up. That's all that matters. And what I sense from Matz, Ron, right now is that it's the hardest I've seen him throw for a while. He's jacked up.
So he gets his first out with the 3-pitch strikeout of Judge. And now it's Gary Sanchez. One of the things that is fascinating about this Yankee team is that despite having these big right-handed hitters with Judge and Sanchez, and throw Hicks into that group too, they have really struggled against left-handed pitching this year. But the Yankees team batting average against lefties is .232, which is 37 points lower than it is against right-handers. And the Yankees are only 15 and 17 this year when a lefty starts against them. Sanchez 4 for 9 in this series with a couple of home runs. And the curveball in for a strike, so a couple of curves for Matz to get ahead on Sanchez. 0-2. D.D. Gregorius, who had the big hit last night, waiting on deck. So after falling behind the first 2 hitters 3-0, he's gotten ahead of the next 2 by throwing 5 straight strikes. Sanchez watches high, 1-2.
Twice he's tried to go inside to Judge and left it up and away, but got the strikeout, and the same with Sanchez.
I think he's overthrowing his fastball a little bit, Ron.
Well, I said nerves. Maybe it's better what you said, Keith. He's just really jacked up.
He's already lathered, as they say at the racetrack.
That's right. That was a good pitch there, in on the hands of Sanchez.
Two coming to Sanchez, and the curveball pulled foul.
I don't like the lazy breaking ball to Sanchez. I just think when I watch him swing, his bat speeds up on the changeup and on the breaking ball. You can bounce it in the dirt, but I wouldn't throw it for a strike with 2 strikes.
Gardner at second, Hicks at first with 1 out, and the curveball hit down foul off the right side.
Got to snap that breaking ball off.
It's been a steady diet of curveballs in this at bat from Matz to Sanchez.
I'd come back with that inside fastball right at the letters, but get it in,
which he hasn't done yet.
That's 20 pitches deep into this opening inning with only 1 out. An error and a walk have put him in jeopardy. And he fires the fastball high to Sanchez, 2-2. First innings have been troublesome for Steven this year. His first inning ERA this year is 8.25. It's been a far too often repeated refrain with Mets starting pitchers this year. Ninth pitch of the at bat coming to Sanchez. And he lifts one to left center field. Back in the gap goes Conforto near the wall. It's out of here. Gary Sanchez gets a changeup and parks a 3-run homer, and the Yankees jump out to a 3-0 lead. 22nd of the year for Sanchez.
First changeup he's thrown, Ron.
Well, you know, Keith, Steve Delves was talking to Steven Matz about a 4-game series and pitching the last game. You know, watching the games. Well, Jacob deGrom threw a changeup to Gary Sanchez. It was a 400-foot home run. Same result here on the choice of the changeup. Sanchez stays back, and even though he's a little out front, so strong.
Too much plate and up.
Third home run of the series for Gary Sanchez. And so the Yankees strike first.
There's the changeup grip. That pinky tucked.
You cannot throw the changeup and over the plate. And he had to reach for it, but his outer half got to get it low and away.
Gregorius takes a curve for a strike, and it's 0-2. And Sanchez got behind in the count 0-2, was able to work his way back to 2-2, and on the 9th pitch of the at bat got the first changeup he saw and homered for the 3rd time in this series. 22 for the year now for Sanchez, who had 20 as a rookie last year. That's a dozen home runs Matz has given up in 64 innings of work this year. So only 1 out in the inning. Slider off the plate to Gregorius, 2-2. The stretch that Matz is going through right now is one of the roughest that any Met has had in a long time. 7 start span where he's 0-5, 9.51. And there's ball 4 to Gregorius, the second walk of the inning. The only other Met pitcher with a streak like that was Randy Jones. Well after his heyday back in 1982, had a 7-start stretch with 6 losses and an ERA even higher.
Well, you can see the ball's not away enough. Look what happens. Look at that ball right on the fat of the bat.
Almost one-handed it out of here.
Yep. And it's up.
Yeah.
Well, it began with the ball that Matz fielded off the bat of Brett Gardner and airmailed down the right field line, and that has not gotten any better from there. An error, a walk, 3-run homer, another walk. 28 pitches deep and still only 1 out, and now Todd Frazier. And he takes a curveball for a strike. 2 New York area kids going head to head. Frazier has 2 home runs in 9 career at bats against Matz. And Frazier pops one up. Playable for Smith in foul ground. And that's the second out.
Got to run that out. The ball drifted back almost into play.
Really. They've been popping up left and right, Mr. Frazier. He's the focus on the top half of that ball.
So here is Tyler Austin, who was just recalled today. 25-year-old from the Atlanta area who played 31 games for the Yankees last year, making his 5th start this season.
A lot of physical things that have happened in his professional career, even before his professional career, and he's gone up and down as far as a prospect, suspect, prospect, suspect, back and forth.
Well, most recently he broke his foot in spring training this year, which gave him no chance to make the team out of spring.
You can see is a big barrel-chested burly young man, 24 years old.
Last year he made his debut with the Yankees, and he and Aaron Judge each hit their first big league home run back to back. It had never, and in their first at bat, it had never been done before in Major League history. First at bat in the big leagues. 2 guys back-to-back home runs. Judge has gone on to greater heights. Austin still trying to get established. And Matz misses with that curveball, and it's 3-1. He's already walked 2 in the inning. No action as yet in the Mets bullpen, but can't imagine they'll wait much longer if Matz continues to struggle like this. That's line to center field, falling fast, and it's a base hit. Austin got it off the end of the bat. He's got the second hit of the inning to go with 2 walks and an error.
Another pitch up.
Change up again.
Can't get it up.
Let me take that back. That was not a change up.
Wasn't?
It was a fastball. It just wasn't his good one.
So Austin back from the minor leagues with a base hit. And here's the number 8 hitter, Ronald Torreyes, who's had a terrific series. 5 for 10 in the first 3 games. Has his average up to .293 for the year. Gregorius at second, Austin at first with 2 out. And the curveball in for a strike.
Is it just me, or this year we've seen some god awful pitch counts in the first inning? I mean, crazy.
Well, the Mets have had, what is this, the 10th time they've given up 3 or more runs in the first inning? At least. th time this year they've given up 3 or more runs in the first inning. It's even more than I thought.
Wow.
I mean, that's just putting your team behind the 8 ball repeatedly. 1 and 2 to Torreyes. And you know, you can talk all you want about the guys who have not been in that rotation this year. You got to give your team a chance.
I mean, yeah, 3 or more runs in the first inning. You have to be perfect after that. Who is?
Too high, and so Matz is going to throw a 40th pitch in the first inning.
That's some labor.
It's twice in a week that a Mets starter has done that. Montero did it just recently. 2 out, 2 on, 2 and 2 to Torreyes. And the curveball struck him out to end the inning. Second strikeout for Matz. Took him 40 pitches to get through that first. His error provided the keynote, and then Gary Sanchez cashed it in. First runs of the game brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Mets come to bat, down 3-0. Curtis Granderson making friends, more friends, as he gets set to lead off. That's lineup brought to you by your tri-state area Land Rover retailer. Matt Reynolds back from Las Vegas, making the start at third base. And the Yankees Yankees' best pitcher this year has been Luis Severino, and he gets the start tonight.
Well, he's had 12 starts on the road. We showed you his numbers. ERAs in the 2, 4 and 1. 8 of those 12 starts, he gave up 1 run or less. Loves pitching on the road.
And looking to bounce back from his worst start of the season last Saturday against Boston. Gave up 10 runs in 4 1/3 innings.
Ooh.
But his previous 5 starts, he was 4-0, 0.83. That's how much of an aberration that was. Curtis Granderson takes one high. Curtis 1 for 8 in this series, including a home run. The Yankees put the full shift on against him. And he takes a strike at 97.
Yeah, he's got a live fastball. Severino.
Just 23 years old. As Granderson pops one into shallow left center. Coming in is Gardner from left field because Hicks didn't appear to see that ball well. And so Gardner makes the catch, 1 away.
And the Yankee defense brought to you by Fios. We've got the 3 outfielders there. They're all 1, 2, 3 in the batting order. Don't see that too often. Tyler Austin coming back up. Gets the start at first base. Already got a base hit. Gary Sanchez, the big blow so far behind the dish.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, 2 for 11 in this series. Severino darts one outside. That's drilled toward the right field corner. Cabrera's got a base hit. It'll go to the wall. And Asdrubal slides in safely with a 1-out double. 20th double of the year for Cabrera.
Ball down and too much plate. Cabrera, beautiful swing at it.
So the Mets trying to fight back after falling into an early 3-run hole. And here's Michael Conforto hitting number 3 tonight with Cespedes sitting cleanup. Conforto 2 for 11 in this series.
I like the flip-flop here. Conforto third and Cespedes in the cleanup.
Is playing right behind Cabrera at second. 1-1 to Conforto.
Conforto's having a little bit of a hard time. He's getting some good at bats, but he's been struggling getting the base hits. Been hitting with the home run, but that's been about it.
7 hits in his last 40 at bats.
Cross up there. Saw it last night. Rene Rivera and Gesellman were crossed up looking for the slider. Almost hit Sanchez in the back of the wrist.
That would have been painful.
Very fortunate. By the way, speaking of hands and wrists, did you see Nolan Arenado came out of the game today for the Rockies? Remember, he got hit on the hand the other day. Well, fielding a ball today against the Braves, he was in tremendous pain as it appeared to hit in the same area, and he had to come out.
Remember, Carlos Correa got hit in the hand, and like a week later took a swing, and that produced him being on the disabled list.
Broken bone.
Residual injury.
Change up from Severino, and he gets even on Conforto 2-2.
Pretty good pitch right there.
Started the game with 5 straight fastballs, and now it's gone to the secondary stuff.
Last year made 11 starts for the Yankees, 11 relief appearances. One of those relief outings was against the Mets, and he was overpowering. That was the game Matz started against Chad Green, and Severino came in through 4 1/3 innings, allowed just 1 hit.
This guy's the real deal here. What I've seen in this first inning, he got a good fastball.
Slider at the feet of Conforto, 3-2. Well, we know what his kryptonite is. It's called Benintendi.
Yeah.
Gave him 2 3-run homers to Andrew Benintendi last Saturday.
Or Benny Biceps is what they're calling him in Boston.
3-2 to Conforto, and he goes down swinging on the changeup for the second out. And it was quite a collection from Severino. 2 out.
That's going to get more than a few hitters.
Boy, he has that tucked back in his palm that takes the heat off that changeup. You're right, Gary. The full anthology of pitches there from Severino. Nasty.
So 2 out. Cabrera still at second, and now Cespedes 3 for 8 in this series, including a home run.
Watch the grip on this changeup. He's just really got it in all of his fingers, gripped like he has his claws and talons and fingers around it.
Severino got some personal instruction from Pedro Martinez, who knows how to throw that changeup. Slider fouled off, and it's 1-1.
That's the last start that Gary was talking about. Pedro Martinez, when he was at his best, and you can say this about very few pitchers, probably had the 3 best pitches in all of baseball. His fastball was the best, his breaking ball was the best, and his changeup was the best of all the pitchers in the league.
That's why he outperformed the league by 2.5 runs per game.
That's right.
I mean, there was a time during the steroid age when hitting was so ascendant, and yet there were 3 guys who were able to beat the game, right? It was Pedro, Randy Johnson, and Greg Maddux, and they all did it differently.
That's right. That's right.
But somehow they were able to thrive in an era where every other pitcher was cowering. One and 2 to Cespedes. Dominic Smith would be next. And he strikes out on a pitch in the dirt, makes no effort to run to first base, which is a recurring theme. And that retires the side. A double and 1 left. 3-0 Yankees after 1. Tri-state Volkswagen dealers. Well, the Dodgers came back with a 3-run bottom of the ninth to beat the White Sox last night. Yasiel Puig the walk-off hit. Red Sox beat the Cardinals last night on a Mookie Betts 2-run double in the bottom of the ninth. Speaking of walk-offs.
Oh, that was a crazy game, right? Matheny getting thrown out.
Well, the reason that Matheny got thrown out was the bizarre part as Severino takes a strike, 1-1, looking for his first big league hit. The home plate umpire, it's grounded right at Cabrera, and that's the first out. I'm trying to remember who the home plate umpire was, but in a situation where the Cardinal pitcher was trying to freeze the base runner by holding the ball, called time. Not because the hitter asked for time, not because the catcher asked for time, because the home plate umpire said he needed a break.
I need a moment.
I mean, Matheny said he had never heard of anything like that in all his years in baseball, and I don't think you guys have either.
I have not. No.
He needs a break.
And Matheny said we were making a strategic move, trying to freeze the runner by holding the ball long, which pitchers do in those spots. Oh, this is some M&Ms. What do you got?
Caramel.
Peanut.
M&M's caramel.
Grape. You were saying?
And it's interesting because last night you had a couple of prominent managers really be very vocal about the umpiring. Joe Madden, too, had his own complaint about a call that went against the Cubs where a hitter who was trying to get out of the way of an inside pitch and was trying to bunt had a strike call for offering at the pitch.
That's right, Zobrist.
Right. And what Madden said was, you know, it's great we have replay and all this stuff, but the minutia of the game, the umpires are having trouble with.
They're missing it, yeah.
Poke toward third, and Reynolds picks off the soft liner off the bat of Gardner for the second out. Chris Siegel was the home plate umpire in that Cardinal Red Sox game.
Well, you needed a break.
Well, you know what replay has done is that it's given the umpires, even though I'm sure they're not making decisions like this, a mulligan on every call, and the calls that aren't replayed, they're missing.
Oh, by the way, the other news and umpiring last night was Angel Hernandez shaking Ian Kinsler's hand. Curveball in for a strike.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't see that.
Well, Kinsler had those very pointed remarks.
If you were Angel, would you shake Ian Kinsler's hand?
Grounded past the mound. Rosario in front of it. Throws out Hicks, and Matz responds after a dreadful first inning with a 1-2-3 second. 3-0 Yankees. Watch every out of market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. That's down 3-0 as they come to bat in the bottom of the second. Dominic Smith 2 for 11 in this series, including a home run. That's against Luis Severino. to the fastball, 0-1. 7th start in the major leagues for Smith, who made his Citi Field debut last night. 4 hits and 21 at bats.
Just 100.
Slider bounced into the shift, and Torreyes throws out Smith, 1 away.
The changeup is a very big weapon for Severino against the left-handers. Boy, he's just been a big out pitch for him thus far. He's been painting it.
Here's Ahmed Rosario. He's 2 for 11 against the Yankees. First big league walk last night.
That's right, 3-2 pitch.
He's probably never going to walk a lot, but he's going to have to walk some, because the Mets envision him at some point being the leadoff hitter. Slowly hit. Gregorius in to play it. And throws out Rosario, 2 away.
You know, Gary, when you just begin in the major leagues, you're going to be walked less because everyone around the league is going to challenge you. Unless you get up to an unbelievable start, everyone is going to go right after you until you prove that you can hit in this league. So there's probably going to be less chance to walk early. Now, if you prove that you can hit in this league, then you get pitched a little more carefully and you might have more walks.
There's Travis d'Arnaud. And he laces one into center field for a 2-out hit. So Travis, who had been just 1 for his last 25, jumps on the first pitch he sees from Severino and hits it back up the middle.
First ball fastball hitting. It was a 4-seamer right there, and d'Arnaud turns on it nicely. Those hits haven't been too far and a few in between.
Second Met hit, and now Matt Reynolds, right back from the minor leagues. He's been bouncing on that Las Vegas shuttle this year. He makes his 8th start of the year tonight. He's had 49 big league at bats, hitting .204, but in 33 games in Vegas, he's hitting .320, and had been hot lately. Mets made 2 moves to shore up their infield, bringing up Reynolds and Gavin Cecchini today. Cecchini's here and available. Wilmer Flores was not placed on the disabled list. Did some work before the game today after being scratched last night with a sore rib cage, but came through it well enough that even though he may not be available tonight, Wilmer is still on the active roster. Jose Reyes, though, is not. He was placed on the disabled list at the same injury.
So shorthanded tonight.
To Reynolds. Well, the upshot is that the Mets now have a 5-man bench and a 12-man pitching staff, which puts a crimp in it when your starting pitcher throws 40 pitches in the first inning and you're missing the long man that you might have otherwise had. It's funny how those things go.
Always, right?
When you need the extra arm, you have the extra bat. When you need the extra bat, you have the extra arm.
Ham and egg.
Half swing on the 3-1 slider, and a good swing by Reynolds. Full count.
3-0 lead. 3-1 slider to Reynolds. Interesting choice because the pitcher behind him, it's not like you can pitch around Reynolds. Matz can hit a little bit, more than a little bit, I should say.
Austin plays behind d'Arnaud, who will be in motion. And Reynolds goes down on the fastball, 99 miles an hour from Severino for his 3rd strikeout of the night. Severino bringing gas. 3-0 Yankees after 2. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Well, guys, if you watch the Picks Morning News, you'll recognize these three people standing to my left. Betty Wynn, Dan Manarino, of course, Byron Miranda, part of the morning news team with Picks. And, guys, I apologize that you guys had to stay here this late. I mean, it seems like this is way past your bedtime. What's a normal day like for you?
Well, let me just start by saying that this is our bedtime. We should be asleep right about now. But typically, we get up, I know I do, around 3:30. These guys may be a little bit earlier because it takes a long time to go through metamorphosis. You see these faces, right?
You're not as good looking as Betty.
No, but we get up around 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're in the office about 4, and then it's off to work. But it's an early wake-up time, almost inhumane. But it's a great show. It's a fun show. We have a lot of news, entertainment, information, weather, traffic. We have everything that you need to get you out the door in the morning.
Yeah, Dan, I mean, you hear 3:30 that you get up. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of time to get ready for the broadcast. So what's your news gathering like in those hours beforehand?
Coffee, and then some coffee. And then we sit down at our computers. You know, we go through our scripts. We talk to the producers, the writers, figure out what the news of the day is, figure out how we can be a little edgy, bring some humor, some sarcasm to it. Betty goes through her army of workers that make this happen, the glam squad as it is. And then we get ready. Then we sit on the set and we communicate with each other, and we are off to the races.
Guys, appreciate it. Great seeing you. Go get some rest, all right? 5 to 9 a.m. every weekday on WPIX. Appreciate it, guys.
Well,
Aaron Judge leading off in the 3rd inning. Struck out his first time up against Steven Matz. And Matz runs a slider inside, 2-1.
if I ever have a 7 a.m. flight, I'll turn on the morning show on Picks.
Or a particularly late night.
Oh.
I mean, let's face it. Which way are you more likely to see 5 a.m.? On the front side or on the back side?
No. What, now? My age? No way. Remember that one place that was open till 6 in the morning here, Ron?
See? I knew you had the idea.
It was over in Alphabet City. Remember that place?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you had to go through a metal detector to get in.
And out. 3-2 to Judge. And he got him. That's going upstairs with the slider to get Aaron Judge for the 2nd time. His 3rd strikeout. Let's see, one of the Met fans helpfully put a little marker underneath the K saying Judge 34 straight games.
Well, you got to find something, I guess.
Change up.
Still most compelling at-bats in this series, watching him swing the bat.
With Gary Sanchez close second.
Yeah.
Sanchez takes a curveball for a strike. Sanchez parked one in the M&M seats in left center for his 3rd home run of the series and his 22nd of the year to give the Yankees the 3-0 lead. Gets under this one. Conforto didn't see it. Cespedes goes back to the wall and makes the catch. That's the 2nd time tonight that a center fielder hasn't seen a ball. It happened to Hicks earlier, and this time it happened to Conforto. Lost it in the twilight.
By the way, he almost hit that out of the ballpark. I mean, that ball looked like it was a simple can of corn. Conforto
Does not see it. Now he does. Too late.
Got under it and nearly got it out. Didn't see it. I remember there was a play earlier this season where Curtis Granderson was playing center field about the same time of night, and the ball fell. Gregorius dumps one into right center for a base hit. And the Yankees have a 2-out base runner after Matz had retired 6 in a row.
Didn't Jake have a no-hitter at the time when that ball fell in?
I think you're right.
Gregorius has had a good series too. He's having a great year. Really is.
It is odd. It has seemed to happen in this ballpark more often this season than in any prior season. I don't think the lights are any different than they've been in prior years here. There's Frazier, who fouled out his first time up. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But it's happened maybe half a dozen times now this year.
I think I know what it is. The SNY booth lights, I think, are the issue. They shine out there and they blind the outfielders. We turn them off. Do this game in the dark.
It's an outstanding theory. Not sure it has any validity, but it's a good theory. Curveball for a strike to Frazier. There we are. We're right in front of the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, blame it on the donuts.
Matz has had a good curveball. He's snapping it off down and in against the right-hander.
Well, you were making the comment in Philadelphia, Keith, that you thought that was the best curveball you'd seen him throw.
And yes, certainly this year.
Yeah. Pauses for the Johnny Franco. Just saw Johnny in the ballpark tonight. Always used to stop to tie his shoe, whether he needed it or not, in a tense situation.
I think John threw out the first pitch in last night's game.
Change up, and that's a strike, 1-2. Gregorius runs, and strike 3 called, a high strike called by Bill Miller, much to the dissatisfaction of Todd Frazier, and that retires the side. 4th strikeout for Matz, who has settled in after a rough beginning as Frazier and Miller continue to talk it over. 3-0 Yankees. Field, Mets down 3-0. Steven Matz will lead off against Luis Severino. Matz 3 for 20 at the plate this year. Curtis Granderson on deck, and then has Drupal Cabrera in the home third. Severino quickly ahead 0-2. Doesn't look like he's throwing 99. It's easy.
Doesn't even use his lower half. It's all just rears back and lets it go.
And Matz chases the slider for strike 3. Fourth strikeout for Severino. We check in with Steve.
Gary, it's been an unbelievable career so far for Curtis Granderson. Little would anyone know, though, that he almost walked away from the game the year before he got called up to the big leagues. He recently spoke about that with me and told me why.
I was thinking that a lot of the issues that were happening were because of baseball. So if I can just eliminate that, then all these issues would be fine. I was playing well. Like I said, I'd made an all-star team, but there were a lot of things like, man, I'm missing out on this and that. I was in Lakeland, Florida, in the Florida State League, staying in dorms where I had ants and roaches and all this, that, crawling in my room. I couldn't have any extra food, and my cell phone barely worked, so I had to creep to a point in my room where I actually could make phone calls at 9 o'clock. I was actually enrolled in college classes, and this is at a point where there wasn't Wi-Fi, so I had to go to the Lakeland Public Library to get on their internet so I could go ahead and register and stay involved in my classes. So a lot of different things that were going on that had nothing to do with baseball, but was mentally saying, hey, if I wasn't doing this, a lot of things could be easier.
And guys, we see in spring training Curtis Granderson spends so much time with young players. He said that's really his message, that the baseball stuff will take care of itself. It's all the excess stuff, relationships, family, adjusting to a new city, that can derail a career if you don't figure out how to deal with it.
It also gives you an idea about the man, that he would even consider walking away from baseball because those other things were of greater concern to him. Curtis has talked about perhaps going back to school after his career is over, get his master's degree.
That would be something that would be very nice. When you retire, you got a lot of empty time. All of a sudden, you're not playing baseball anymore. It's a big adjustment.
He has said he has not thought about going into politics, but you can certainly see a scenario where someday he would.
Well, I've always said that I always feel Curtis is going to be the next mayor of Chicago, and I say that half facetiously.
He can be the next Kevin Johnson.
There you go.
Right?
Sacramento.
KJ. So 1 out and 1 on. First walk given up by Severino, who's given up less than 2.5 walks per 9 innings. In fact, the 8th best control numbers in the American League with everything else. Here's Cabrera, who doubled his first time up and picks outside for ball 1. Fouled off, 1-1.
Oh, everybody's in their seat now. Full house. Love it.
Well, almost everybody.
Just about everybody.
You don't want to be on the line at Shake Shack right now. It was very nice that we got a Shake Shack delivery last night.
It was very sweet.
Fortuitous.
I'd like another one.
Who do you need to tell?
The burger was outstanding.
But just think of the people who have to wait in line there.
Well, yeah.
Of course, they do project our broadcast on the back of the scoreboard so they can stand in line and watch you.
Me?
Cabrera's late on the fastball, and Severino has his 5th strikeout of the night, 2 out in the inning.
Boy, he threw that one right by. And Severino is impressive. He's a pitcher, Ronnie.
Yes, he is. The tipping point might have been in that relief appearance that he had against the Mets last season.
How is it that Keith can say, I'd like a Shake Shack burger, and it appears within 20 seconds?
Because he's Keith Hernandez. Don't you realize that?
I just...
You don't buy into that yet?
Russ, the fries are cold.
But isn't there a lag time in, like, the preparation and the delivery? I mean, it's like I dream of Jeannie.
If he wanted an envelope of cash, he wanted some Crocs, they'd all be here within 15 seconds. Wouldn't matter.
I'm very impressed, Gabe. That's a magic touch right there.
I did not expect. I was just,
especially since you have your own burger joint.
That's right. You'd think I'd be on the dole there.
Submarining yourself. Conforto struck out his first time up. Severino's ahead of him 0-2. Granderson at first and 2 out. And Conforto grounds one right at Gregorius. And they get the 6-5 fielder's choice to end the inning. After 3-0 Yankees. Field. Gary Sanchez, a first inning 3-run homer off Steven Matz. That's been all the scoring so far. Lower third of the order for the Yankees against Matz in the 4th. Tyler Austin had a base hit to center field, first at bat back from the minor leagues. You know, just the other day, Chad Bettis made his return to action for the Colorado Rockies, coming back from a bout with testicular cancer. It couldn't have resonated with anybody more than it did with Tyler Austin. Austin takes one the other way, and he's 2 for 2. Austin had to go through surgery for testicular cancer when he was only 17.
Wow. On that fastball.
Here's Ronald Torreyes, who struck out his first time up. And he yanks that one foul.
Well,
Ronald Torreyes with a number bigger than he is.
5'8",
151. 151.
Well, especially you put him on a team with Betances and Sanchez and Judge, and I mean, whoa.
Grounded toward the hole. That's going to get through for a base hit. So back-to-back base hits for the 7 and 8 hitters, and Torreyes now 6 for 12 in this series.
I just questioned the changeup call there. You got a guy that struck out the first time up on a fastball, threw it by him, and you throw him a pitch, an 8-hitter, and you throw him an off-speed pitch so he can get the barrel out. I don't understand that call.
A pesky young player, small of stature, chokes up on the bat, and he made it through the funnel. How did that happen? You don't see it that much anymore.
It's like a time warp.
Well, we'll see how the Mets play this bunt. They know it's going to be a bunt here. The corner's in.
Severino doesn't have a hit or a sacrifice in his career. And he pops up the bunt. It is muffed by Smith. Matz can't make the play, and the bases are loaded. Looked like the easiest of plays for Dom Smith, and he just fanned on it.
And that'll be a base hit.
First major league hit for Severino. He wants the souvenir.
Well, let's take another look at this. Well, he did all he can do. He just placed that perfectly. Can't say it's a good bunt. Look how quick Matz is to kind of. Wow, this game's in one hit away from being trouble for the Mets.
So now Brett Gardner with the bases loaded and nobody out. Gardner's 0 for 2, and he takes the curveball up and in for ball 1.
Well, here it is again, the full play here, and he just got a little bit too going forward too quickly, where you can't change to lateral movement to your right. Just a little bit too quick. It'll be a little more gathered.
Gardner lines one toward the left field line, and that's going to go into the corner. Austin is in. Torres scores. Severino will be held at third. Brett Gardner with a 2-run double, and the Yankees now lead 5-0.
Well, he kept on throwing Gardner away. You got to throw inside, and Gardner's sitting out there. Beautifully done right there. Pitch down and away. A good pitch down and away, but when you're leaning out there and you have no worries inside, you pick your spot. First pitch fastball. It's good hitting.
So Matz, who steadied the ship in the second and third, has given up 4 straight hits to start the fourth. 2 runs are in, still nobody out. Mets bullpen getting going.
Here comes the thunder.
And now Aaron Hicks takes a fastball strike.
Calling some high strikes. I'm all for high strikes.
That's right.
I think this one's the one he's calling, and that is Bill Miller. That is serious letters.
Jason Bradford up in the Mets bullpen. Well, the one he struck out Frazier on in the last inning, that was up. Infield in halfway as Hicks takes up and in. It's 1-1. Hicks has walked and grounded out. We got the pitcher running at third, and the high curveball swung and missed. 1-2. Watching Severino run the bases, looks like it might take a pretty good fly ball to get him home. Lane goes over. Hicks steps out from the Keith Hernandez school. Matz could use a strikeout. Gets a slow ground ball. Severino's going to hold at third, and Reynolds throws out Hicks for the first down of the inning.
Well, you got Judge up. Do you walk him and set up 2? He's been a 2-strikeout guy for Matz.
And the guy on deck's already taken Matz deep once and almost a second time.
I think you got to go after him.
Yeah, I'd walk him. Even if he struck him out twice.
Terry tells the infield to come a little further in. They're about halfway again. Second and third and 1 out. Judge up twice, struck out twice, and pounds the first one foul. Those are the recent numbers for Matz, and they've got no better tonight. 5 runs, 4 of them earned over 3 1/3 innings. There's a good slider by Matz to get ahead 0-2.
Go up the ladder.
Hasn't thrown that slider much against anybody else except Judge.
That's almost like a little cutter running out.
Yeah. It's a pitch he doesn't use that often because he felt that at one time that it was contributing to some of his arm woes.
Trying to strike out Judge for a third time. And it goes in off his hand or the bat handle. I guess it got his hand.
Boy, it sounded like the bat,
It
didn't it?
did sound like the bat.
I think it hit the protective elbow thing he has on his elbow.
Wow. 0-2.
So now the bases are loaded.
Good call, Ronnie.
Yep. Well, you said to put him on.
I didn't know he could do it like that. It's pretty precise.
So the bases are loaded with one out, and Gary Sanchez, who's hit a 3-run homer and then hit one to the wall that was caught his last time up, and he will face a new pitcher. Matz is done. So a night that began for Steven Matz with him throwing away a ground ball for a 2-base error will end in the 4th inning. Another rough night at the office for the lefty from Long Island, and he'll take his exit after 3 1/3. Jason Bradford in for the 3rd straight day to face Gary Sanchez with the bases loaded, and Sanchez greets him with a base hit through the hole. Severino scores. Gardner behind him. Short hop. Darno can't handle it. Gardner scores. 7-0 Yankees. Sanchez with his 4th and 5th RBIs on the night on the first pitch thrown by Jason Bradford.
Well, we touched on it in the open about facing relief pitchers, not pretending the 0-2 count, jumping on that first pitch. And certainly Sanchez just, and the throw short hops Darno.
That's twice that Espada has challenged Cespedes. He's 2-0.
Wasn't a bad throw, but the short hop beat Darno. Otherwise, he would have had a good chance to get Gardner.
Oof. Tough play for Darno.
Let me ask you guys a question about that last play with Darno. As Gregorius Raise it to one hopper. Cabrera and Rosario turn it for the 4-6-3 double play. That ends the inning. But the Yankees score 4 in the top of the 4th inning. All charged to Steven Matz. They lead 7-0.
He's like a lifetime anywhere, dancing in the dark up in Central Park, or the bright lights of Times Square. This town is champagne, so shake the bottle, pop that cork. All the deadliest sins are like one night in New York.
Well, this one particular one night in New York must have felt like a lifetime for Steven Matz.
Yeah.
He gets charged with 7 runs, 6 earned over 3 1/3. And the Mets now down 7-0 as they come to bat in the home 4th. Cespedes leads off against Severino, who stakes to the big lead after getting his first big league hit and runs scored. He struck out Cespedes his first time up, one of 5 strikeouts on the night. And he runs that one to the inside corner, and it's 0-2.
Little dart on the inside corner.
Dominic Smith on deck, then Ahmed Rosario for the Mets in the 4th against the 23-year-old Severino, who has bounced back quite nicely from his worst start of the year. Slider grounded to short, and Gregorius scoops it up. 1 out. I was going to ask you guys right before the double play that ended the top of the inning. We saw d'Arnaud try and field that short hop throw by Cespedes, and he had his mask on. And I'm wondering now, in this era where there really are no home plate collisions anymore, whether catchers should still be wearing their masks trying to field balls at the plate.
Well, I guess I always had everybody took off their masks. John Stern was one of the few that didn't, when the Met catcher. And I think you got to take the mask off so you don't have anything in front to distract you with the grid in front of you.
You know, John was probably looking for contact. That's probably why he kept his on. No, I've always said, and I've said on this broadcast, is that I would, if I were teaching young catchers today, I would say, hey, listen, I will not be against you if you keep your mask on, but the way the rules are now, I would love you to take your mask off, because as a catcher, the only time you field the ball that bounces is you're not trying to catch it, you're trying to block it. This you're trying to catch. So to have both eyes on it. Now we were showing this, and it would have been carried off his glove into his face.
Well, but maybe if he'd seen it better, that's lined to Torres for the second. I mean, you can argue that either way. If he hadn't had the mask on, maybe he has the glove in a better position and sees it better and catches it.
By the same token, the mask is something that could hurt the base runner. When I had a collision with John Stearns at home plate, he had his mask on. We got in a collision, which is not going to happen today.
Well, that's the thing. There are still collisions, but they're so rare now because of the weather.
But you never know with the mask. It could be a perfect storm. I mean, Stearns almost broke my clavicle, for crying out loud. I was so angry at him.
Well, let's think of it this way. Do you think that if you played first base, you could catch grounders with a mask, or without a mask would be better? Without a mask, right? So, I mean, that's what you're doing. You're becoming an infielder once the play is at the plate.
And with a glove that is not designed to catch ground balls, which makes it that much more difficult.
You've already protected the catcher with the new rules. All the new rules are protecting their investments out there on the field. So you got a base runner that can get hurt.
Rosario strikes out to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Severino. He's got 6 strikeouts through the first 4 and dominating. 7-0 Yankees. Yankees tonight, as it has been throughout this series. First 3 games were all close, 1- and 2-run affairs, but Gary Sanchez with 5 RBIs tonight. Steven Matz knocked out in the 4th inning, and the Yankees with a 7-0 lead as Todd Frazier leads off against Chase and Bradford. Bradford threw 2 pitches when he came on in the 4th. Gave up a 2-run single on the first pitch to Sanchez, and they got a double play on his second pitch from Gregorius. And a slider for a strike to Frazier, who's 0 for 2 tonight.
In his defense, when he came in, what are you trying to get? A ground ball, which he got both times. Just Sanchez found a hole.
Frazier 1 for 10 in this series. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by your tri-state area Jaguar retailers. What do you think? Should I say Jaguar or should I say Jaguar?
Well, the right pronunciation is the latter one.
It is a British car.
Yeah.
But we're doing the ad here in the United States where we pronounce the word Jaguar. What's the call?
I think it's an advertisement. So therefore you should go American.
You just said the English pronunciation of advertisement. Advertisement.
He's very European.
Yeah.
He's got that old country quality to him.
Yeah.
A little sod. Drive it slowly foul. Still 2-2 to Frazier.
Maybe say Jaguar with your English accent.
Jaguar.
There you go. Both.
That was terrible. Tyler Austin on deck, then Ronald Torreyes for the Yankees in the 5th. And Frazier fouls it back. It's been hard for Todd Frazier to hit with consistency. He's at 208 this year. He had 227 or 225 last year with the White Sox. When he hits for power, he had 40 home runs last year, 19 more this year. But it feels like when he was in Cincinnati, he was a better hitter.
Yes. Well, Cincinnati will make you sometimes a better hitter because those fly balls go out of the ballpark. I think that in time, maybe Yankee Stadium will make him a better hitter because he'll start staying on the ball and trying to hit the ball to right, up the middle.
How long are they going to stick with him?
I don't know.
3-2. Got him looking. Another unhappy customer. Second time Frazier has been called out on strikes tonight, and he was not pleased with either one.
That was a strike.
Well, Keith makes a good point because Greg Bird is heading out on rehab, and you know, Bird's their first baseman of the future, they think. They've got Chase Headley and may leave no room for Todd Frazier if Headley plays third and Bird plays first. Lifted to right field. Granderson comes in, and Tyler Austin is retired for the first time tonight. 2 away. Sunday, September 10th is a McDonald's Family Sunday. The Mets take on the Reds at 1:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Mets fidget spinner presented by PC Richard & Son. Plus, all kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game in the Mr. Met Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. Are you a fidget spinner guy?
I was going to say, qu'est-ce que c'est? I don't know what that is.
Oh, you really?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, it's just a thing that you twirl.
Yeah, it's
like all day, or
well, if you're fidgeting and you want to spin something, you spin your fidget spinner.
I don't get it, to be honest with you. But
some people shake the change in their pockets.
Does Haji spin?
It's like the hula hoop.
Some people twiddle their thumbs.
It's like the hula hoop was more fun than the fidget.
Well, there's more physical activity involved in the hula hoop. I mean, the fidget spinner exercises your finger, and that's
Which
it.
is appropriate.
I mean, some people squeeze a rubber ball.
But it's for all sizes. One size fits all.
Oh yeah, you just hold it and you spin it. It's very simple.
Yeah.
There's very little mental strain involved, but some people might feel it relaxes them. Torreyes throws his bat at the ball, rolls it out to Cabrera, and Bradford has himself a 1-2-3 top of the 5th, and we are now halfway through Washington Square Park, bustling on a Thursday night. 7-0 Yankees. Mets will have the lower third of the order coming up against Luis Severino.
Ronnie, our friend, George. Mater D over at Nello's on Madison Avenue. Big George, a huge Met fan. I wish he'd look up.
He's the only reason you and I can get a table at lunch.
He takes good care of us. He's a good man. And he's a die-hard Met fan.
So you're saying he's suffering right at the moment?
He's suffering. And he knows his baseball, too. I just keep my mouth shut. I listen to him, but I agree with most of what he says.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Does he give you ideas for the broadcast?
No. He gives. If Sandy was there, he's got a lot of ideas on how to some moves to make.
Maybe you should bring him to lunch one day.
You know how that goes with Met fans.
Travis d'Arnaud has one of the 2 hits against Severino, a single to center in the 2nd inning. And he chops this one slowly. Charging is Frazier, and the running throw against d'Arnaud, 1 away.
Well, this is kind of routine here. d'Arnaud does run well, but ball not hit that lightly. And you can see there's no rush in Frazier's throw. He's throwing on the run.
It's the kind of play that d'Arnaud was dreaming of making last night.
I don't know if he was dreaming about it.
Although he said after the game that the advice he got from David Wright when David gave him the okay to use his third baseman's glove was dive for everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He also told him stay low and expect every ball to come to you, but
Right.
dive for everything.
Dive for everything.
By the way, that was a lot of information David gave him.
Can you imagine if Chip Hale was still the coach here and d'Arnaud, he told him to got a backhand everything? That'd have been rough.
One pop-up, right?
One pop-up, and that was at second base. He moved back and forth 23 times. He and Asdrubal Cabrera. I got into a discussion tonight with Bob Waterman of the Elias Sports Bureau. Of course, they keep all the official stats. As Reynolds strikes out for the 2nd time, that's 7 for Severino. You know, in this era of shifts, often we see third basemen moving over to the right side of the field, and they'll make plays there, but they're still scored as third basemen. But last night, every time Cabrera and d'Arnaud switched, in the official stats, they were judged to have switched positions.
Really?
Yeah. And it's my contention that the way the game has evolved now, and you know, there's nothing mandated in the rules about positions other than pitcher and catcher.
Yeah.
They should probably take all 3 infield positions, second, short, and third, and just make one position out of it.
Lump them together.
Because they're always playing in different places anyway.
Yeah.
There's no standardized infield play. Jason Bradford, in his first major league plate appearance, takes a called third strike, and Severino's got 8 strikeouts through 5 innings. Go to pix11.com/team travel for great deals on Mets away games from cheapoair.com. Marlins come in tomorrow night. 3 games over the weekend against Giancarlo and the Fish. Then the Diamondbacks, who are in the midst of the wild card chase, in for 4 games. Then the Mets go to Washington, Cincinnati, and Houston on their next road trip.
Where are you going this weekend, Ronnie?
I have the weekend off. One of the few rare weekends I have off.
Join us.
Oh, wait a second.
Well, I'd go over the number of games that they allow me to do.
I'm
contractually.
I am going to let Kurt have a word with Kurt on that one. Was he aware that you had an off weekend?
I don't think so.
I could have had a rare off weekend in the second half.
You know the second half. You like to push in that second half.
Severino bangs one down to third, and Reynolds plays the hop. So Severino, who had a bunt hit for his first major league hit, fails to get his second.
Well,
you know all that stuff.
Well, a side note, 1948 yesterday was the 16th, was the Babe Ruth passed away. So that's a little bit of franchise history.
And Elvis.
That's right.
On my mom's birthday.
Really?
Yeah, my mom's birthday was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you. Yes.
Is she watching, you think?
No.
I don't blame her.
She had enough of my 10 years here.
Oh, Keith, I finally realized why Ronnie has the weekend off and why he can't be here. Because Saturday is Ronnie's birthday, and he never is with us on his birthday.
That's right.
What are you now?
You know why? Because I'm fearful of you too.
50 what?
57.
Oh,
57 candles.
You're getting up there, brother.
I mean, think about it. I started this job at 45 years old.
Wow. Jeez.
Brett Gardner had a 2-run double as the Yankees blew the game open in the 4th inning. It's 1 for 3 on the night. He hit a ground ball back to the mound, first batter of the game, and Matz threw it down the right field line, and it set the tone for the night for Steve. Well, I'm sure we might mention it tomorrow, but if we forget, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I hope you have a great birthday weekend.
Birthdays aren't like they used to be, are they, guys?
Well,
it all depends on your point of view.
60 is a big one.
Yeah.
That was the big one.
Well, 70 will be even bigger.
Oh, well, we'll wait and see.
Wait and see about that one.
I can wait. 60 was a pretty significant birthday, I must say. It got my attention.
How old are you going to be in October?
64. Jeez.
Well, we'll find out.
I still think I can dive around that infield, though, Gare. I have dreams of it. No, not really. I wish I could.
I was just thinking, we'll see whether you're still needed and fed when you're 64.
Oh, there you go.
That's right. Wasn't that Paul McCartney?
Paul got through 64.
Yes, he did.
He's perfectly fine. Gardner strokes one out to center. On comes Conforto to make the grab for the second out. And Bradford's now retired 6 in a row. Remember, Bradford's working for the 3rd straight day. So he's doing some extra duty here tonight.
Well, he's a sinker ball pitcher. It's going to make that ball sink a little bit better for him.
Mets got behind the 8 ball quickly in this game, giving up 3 runs in the first inning. The 16th time this year the Mets have given up 3 or more in the first inning. By contrast, last year it happened only 6 times the whole season. And just maybe as a further point of comparison, the 1988 Mets, only 3 times that year did you guys allow 3 or more runs in the first inning. 3 times.
We had a pretty good starting rotation, did we not?
Well, it happened more in 86. 86 it happened 8 times.
I know one of them in 1988, to tell you the truth.
You do?
Yep. 2/3 of an inning by this man right here. 10 runs, 6 earned.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Did you win?
I won the bike race in the clubhouse for 2.5 hours.
Well, the reason I asked that is because today John Lester gave up 9 runs in the second inning. Got no decision. That's hard to do.
It really is.
Right? I mean, the Cubs were down 9-0. They came back to tie. They lost the game, but they got Lester off the hook.
Lester now, right before the All-Star break, lasted 15 batters and gave up 10 runs, and today 9 runs in the second after a 1-2-3 first.
Well, they said he had a lat strain when he came out of the game today, so that's going to bear watching. Grounded foul by Hicks. I mean, the Cubs are by no means home free. They started the day with a 1.5 lead in that National League Central.
But their starting pitching had turned the tide after the All-Star break. 16-5 ERA under 3. They got Kyle Hendricks back, so Lester would be a big loss.
And John Lackey stole a base yesterday.
And then it got picked off. Did
yes,
you tell me that?
He did. He said, I tried one and it worked, and I tried one and it didn't work. Hicks lines one right to Cabrera, and that retires the side. 7 in a row retired by Chase and Bradford. That sends us to the bottom of the 6th, with the Yankees still up 7-0. Severino, coming off the worst start of his season, has turned it completely around tonight. He has overmatched the Mets over the first 5 innings. 8 strikeouts, 2 hits, 1 walk. And Severino, who had the lead before he ever took the mound, has been on top of his game, looking for his 10th victory of the season. 3rd time through the batting order now. Curtis Granderson leads off. Curtis drew the only walk from Severino his last time up.
That's one of the reasons he's looking at his 10th win. He has been the ace for this staff. They never expected that to happen when the season started. Tanaka's out, CC Sabathia's out, and it also gives any young pitcher out there that gets a lead a blueprint on how to go after a team. He has been uber aggressive with his fastball.
Now last year Severino made 11 starts, 11 relief appearances, 3-8, 5.83 ERA. He had blister problems. Now we saw him last year and we saw him at his best, but what do you see different about him now compared to last year?
Well, you ask anyone who followed while he was with the Yankees early in his career. Now he's 23 years old. That's part of the problem. But the second part is that he would come into a game and see the ERAs in the AL this season and throw a lot of breaking pitches, kind of use a lot of change-ups, and not use his greatest weapon, his fastball. This year has just been flipped it around. Throws that fastball a lot, goes after hitters, and then puts them away with the slider and changeup.
It seems as though he has become what they expected Michael Pineda to be.
Yeah.
Pineda, of course, out for the season now as Granderson walks for the 2nd time, and the Mets got the leadoff man on in the 6th.
Of course, as soon as we talk of it, he walks Granderson for the second time. Look how low he keeps his glove. That's so he doesn't really, that glove doesn't move a lot. He doesn't do a lot of pushing off, even though he's a big athlete. He just has one of those God-given arms.
So after Severino had retired 8 in a row, Granderson's on to start the home 6th, and here's Cabrera, who had a double back in the first inning, struck out in the 3rd, 1 for 2, and he lifts one foul.
As soon as I said that he's using his fastball a lot, he's come out throwing all breaking balls and changeups.
Well, 3rd time around the batting wire. Is that, you think that's by design?
I would not. I would change the plan if it's 7-0. Stay aggressive.
So you're saying that in the pregame game planning, the thought was 3rd time around, use more of the secondary pitches, but you change the plan if the score is lopsided?
I would change the plan if I'm throwing the fastball by the hitters all night long. Now, Cabrera is a good choice to go with the breaking pitches because he is a dead fastball hitter.
High speed pitch brought to you by Optimum. Severino has hit triple digits tonight.
But the hitters sometimes tell you how to pitch, and he has thrown the ball by most of the Mets hitters tonight.
One and 2 to Cabrera with Conforto on deck. And he got him. Good looking slider by Severino for his 9th strikeout.
Whoa, tight late breaker and down. Watch it get under the bat. It's hard to tell in slow motion, but boy, in real time you can really see the sharpness and crispness of the break. What a pitch. I'm out in front too.
Smaller the dot as you see that ball get to the plate, the better the slider.
Unless of course you were J.R. Richard. He had the big old circle on the ball. Very rare.
Well, it's been a big strikeout year in baseball, and especially those 2 guys at the top of the list, Sale and Kluber. They've just been off the charts. But Severino not far behind. 10.4 strikeouts per 9, and better than that tonight. 9 strikeouts and 5 1/3. Change up for a strike. And it's 0-2 to Conforto, who struck out and hit into a fielder's choice. Michael just 2 for 13 in this series.
He's got Conforto. He's been giving Conforto that steady diet of changeups. It's been befuddling, Michael.
Meanwhile, in Minneapolis tonight, Jay Bruce just hit his first home run for the Indians, his 30th home run of the year. It's a day-night doubleheader. The Indians won the day game. Twins are up 2-1 in the 5th in the night game. Cleveland going for their 7th straight win. So basically, they've been winning ever since Jay got there.
That's right. He's been a big part of it too. He's gotten his RBIs.
Good for Jay. We wish him nothing but the best.
Last night, Neil Walker homered for the first time for the Brewers. They've won 4 in a row, basically since Walker got there. 2-2 now to Conforto. And it's interesting, there's been conversation the last few days with so many of the veteran players leaving this team, and there might be more, about whether Conforto at a very early point in his career might have to take on more of a leadership role on this team. And I'm wondering if that's too much to ask at this point.
I think it is. Just let him. And a lot of that is instigated by the press. They got nothing else to write about, so they got to throw it out there into the mix like when you toss salad. Just let him play. He will come into it naturally with success.
Or not.
Right. Exactly.
Some players don't want that.
That's exactly right. I think Conforto is going to be the guy that's going to embrace it.
I look at him a lot like David Wright. I think he has a lot of the same qualities. Came into it very humble, and David grew into the role. It was, and similarly, the media had a lot of conversation about it as it was starting to develop, but David eventually came by it naturally. 3-2 to Conforto. And chops one foul.
Just like real life, very few people can lead others. It's a very difficult thing to do, and you can do it in a lot of different ways. I've had guys in the clubhouse that are very vocal. I've had guys that are less vocal, like Keith, who just does it by steady out there every day. Now, when you're on the field, you're vocal. But I'm saying as far as being in the lineup every day, playing winning type baseball, you know?
That's right. I wasn't a chatterbox in the clubhouse.
No.
It was a needler. We were all needling each other.
Conforto works out a 10-pitch walk, and the Mets have 2 men on for the first time tonight. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by NYU Langone Heart. So Severino's hit his first little speed bump here in the 6th with a couple of walks.
And really doing the opposite of what I said, so ignore what I said in the beginning of the inning. He was very aggressive. Threw 3 straight breaking pitches on a 3-2 count to Michael Conforto with a 7-0 lead.
Maybe you just need to get him an earpiece.
Yeah.
So now Severino will face Cespedes, who's gone 0 for 2 tonight, struck out and grounded out. The Mets have not had a hit with a runner in scoring position in this series. They haven't had all that many chances. 0 for 2 Monday, 0 for 3 Tuesday, 0 for 2 last night, and 0 for 2 tonight. So 0 for 9 in the series. And it's grounded slowly. Frazier gets the out at second, and that's all. Slowly hit ground ball. 5-4 fielder's choice, so eliminates Conforto for the second out.
Interesting. You see the mound visit. Usually it's the catcher who comes out and talks to the pitcher. This was the pitcher, after walking a couple, who was talking to the catcher.
I like that. The pitcher knows what he wants to throw. It's his game.
Looked like he was saying, I got this. Don't worry.
Well, you got it till you don't.
So 2 out runners at the corners. Mets with a runner at third for the first time tonight. And now Dominic Smith, who's grounded out and lined out 0 for 2. Foul out of play, 0-1. Do you notice Dominic Smith swinging with more of an uppercut
I do.
than he did in spring?
And it's alarming to me because when he came up, he was saying that they were teaching him to hit the ball in the air, which is the new holy grail of hitting, which I don't like. And I just think it's right now his bat looks a little slow, and I'm just not going to draw any conclusions. You got someone trying to get their feet wet in the big leagues. They're playing in front of the home folks. Every pitcher you face, you've never faced before. You're on a big league level. It takes a while to settle in.
Just 23 at bats deep into his major league career. 99 on the black, and he fouled it off.
Caught Sanchez right in the bicep, I believe, on the foul tip.
You'll be
tricep, sorry.
Ouch. Oh, that's a lot of. He's doing all the talking.
He is.
I like their camaraderie.
And then he just like squeezed the back of his tricep. That was no. He uses a lot of that rosin bag, so he's got some on his hat.
Front of the hat, back of the hat.
Yeah, he uses a lot, almost every pitch.
0-2 to Smith. And Dom wastes the changeup away.
He is having his way with left-hand hitters. This changeup tonight has been a very effective pitch. But what's made it effective is that he's throwing hard and he's throwing his fastball too.
Comes inside Dom, and it's 1-2. Smith looks one to left. Gardner coming toward the line. And that retires the side. A couple of walks, but the Mets leave two stranded. Severino with 6 scoreless innings under his belt. He's allowed only 2 hits. 9 strikeouts. 7-0 Yankees after 6. Goes from center field to left field. Brandon Nimmo comes into play center. He'll bat 9th. And Hansel Robles comes on to pitch.
Well, you see Robles' numbers, not yet, but he gave up the big home run in the first game of this series.
That was to Aaron Hicks that gave the Yankees the lead in the 8th inning. Comes in to face Aaron Judge, who's 0 for 2 and was hit by pitches last time up. Great relief outing by Chasen Bradford, working a 3rd straight day. He went 2 2/3 innings. No runs, 1 hit, a strikeout. After Steven Matz lasted just 3 1/3 tonight. So that helped save the bullpen a little bit. Judge, Sanchez, and Gregorius for the Yankees in the 7th. Judge takes a slider inside, 2-0. There's a strike, 2-1. Judge with 37 home runs to lead the American League. The National League's home run leader will be here tomorrow night. Marlins had the night off. They played yesterday. Their flight to New York had to be diverted because of mechanical problem. But I assume they have made it by now and are lying in wait. Stanton had a 6-game home run streak stopped last night.
Day off in New York. A little careful, guys.
Let me recommend a few places for you.
2-2 coming, and Judge fouls it back. Well, the Marlins have been playing really well.
Yes.
They've won 5 of their last 6. No Justin Bour, no Martin Prado, no JT Riddle. He's out for the year. Edison Volquez down for the year.
Coming off an 8-1 win on Wednesday.
They traded away their closer. Mets have him now. A.J. Ramos, I'm sure, is looking forward to facing his old team. And they have Brad Ziegler closing, and he's doing a very good job for them. 2-2 to Judge, and the breaking ball line to third, caught by Reynolds for the first out. So the Marlins have opened up some space over the Braves and the Mets for second place in the NL East, and trying to stay on the cusp of that wild card race. 7.5 going into the day. Arizona won today, so they're 8 behind.
Atlanta won also, right? Yeah, they beat Colorado today.
By the way, that Arizona win today, Patrick Corbin 1 out from a complete game shutout.
Wow.
Gary Sanchez has driven in 5 of the 7 Yankee runs, a 3-run homer in the first inning, a 2-run single in the 4th. He's had quite a series. 6 for 12, 3 homers, 9 RBIs in the 4 games. To Sanchez. In the air to left field. This one will stay in the ballpark. And Porto puts it away, 2 out. Be at Citi Field Saturday when the Mets take on the Marlins at 7:10. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a UNS Cespedes bobblehead just like that one, courtesy of Delta Airlines. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Well, we all know what happens when he makes connection.
That's the first bobblehead with a soul patch. You see that?
And the sleeve.
Nice.
Just like to see him trying to run to first when he strikes out. Maybe they could put that in the bobblehead. Gregorius is 1 for 2 and a walk tonight. Grounded into a double play against Chase and Bradford in the 4th inning. And a knee-high strike, 1-1.
Usually we document this, but T.D. Gregorius is another guy that chokes up. Doesn't matter what the count is. A little better control. I was going to say, you know, he's not much of a home run hitter, but he's got 18.
It's a good 2-inch choke up right there.
Grounded through the hole. That's a base hit.
He likes that ball down. Well, I've seen him enough swinging upstairs. He does not like that ball upstairs at all.
Well, there's nothing that says that you can't choke up on the bat and be a power hitter.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, Barry Bonds proved that. Joey Votto has proved that for years.
Quick to the ball, and you're right, Keith. He's just the down hitter, straight. Hit the ball off Seawall. That was
He's
down.
almost got a golf follow through.
So Gregorius has his second hit of the night. 2-out single. Here's Frazier, who's had a double at the time tonight. Infinity Yankee box score. Sanchez with the big number. Infinity empower the drive. Robles falls behind 2-0. Frazier pops it up. Smith tiptoes after it. Side retired. A hit and 1 left. Stretch time at Citi Field. 7-0 Yankees. by Infinity and Power the Drive. Just 2 hits for the Mets tonight against Luis Severino, who's been cruising. Ahmed Rosario leads off in the home 7th. 0 for 2 tonight, grounded out and struck out. One of the 9 strikeouts for Severino. And he's quickly ahead 0-2.
Boy, Severino is so confident. He gets the ball, he just wants to throw. He works fast, complete confidence.
Rolled toward the middle of the diamond. Gregorius flashes over and gets Rosario by half a stride, 1 away.
He's got the slider like Andujar.
Yeah.
A little bit like Andujar reminds me. And Joaquin would just paint that little outside, throw it down the middle, take a little bit off, and get how many ground balls off the end of the bat as he had tonight against right-hand hitters. It's a really good slider.
Good hustle by Rosario there.
Or as Joaquin used to refer to himself, one tough Dominican.
Yes.
Well, maybe Severino's the next.
And it reminds me of Joaquin. Without the emotion, because Joaquin was a powder keg.
Darno hits one down the right field line. Back toward the corner goes Judge to drop the ball. And Darno will go to second base. Judge had that all lined up. Normally a terrific outfielder, but he simply muffed it. And it's a 2-base error on Judge.
A little more territory to cover here at Citi Field.
Took his eye off the ball right at the last minute.
Yes, he did. Looking for that fence a little bit too early. He had it. That's got to be an E9, correct?
It is indeed. E9 for 9-9.
Huh.
So the Mets have a runner at second with 1 out. Here's Matt Reynolds, who's been up twice and struck out both times. So this is Severino's 26th batter of the game. He did not throw a first pitch strike to any of the first 4 batters. He's thrown a first pitch strike to 20 of the last 21. Wow. That gets behind Sanchez, and over to third goes Darno. Judge glancing at the wall as that ball glanced off his glove.
You got to look it in. We've seen that with Sanchez. You know, I mean, it's hard to criticize a guy with the series he's had, but his inability to get all the way down is something that he's going to have to work on defensively.
Cost Severino a wild pitch and may cost him a chance for a shutout. Runner at third, 1 out, the infield back. Reynolds takes it high, 2-1.
How about the ability to maintain the velocity on your fastball at pitch 100? Throwing 98 to 100 in the first inning, the same now.
Yankees have the bullpen cranking. They got a left-hander up now. And the fastball on the corner at 98, 2-2. Reynolds just back from the minor leagues. Activated today when Jose Reyes went on the DL. Gavin Giacchini called up as well. He's available tonight. 2-2 coming. And Reynolds pokes one into right center field. That'll fall for a hit, and the Mets are on the board. Darno comes in to score. Matt Reynolds an RBI single, his 3rd RBI of the season. And the Mets cash an unearned run to make it 7-1 Yankees.
This is a good pitch that Reynolds hits here. It is a good hard slider. Look at the location. Pretty good hitting.
That's first hit with a runner in scoring position in this series, and it belongs to Matt Reynolds. Now Brandon Nimmo came in on a double switch in the last half inning. Bats for the first time. Nimmo had a pinch hit at bat last night and took a call third strike on a 3-2 pitch, of course. Nimmo's averaged more pitches per plate appearance in a pinch hitting role than anybody in the majors this year. Goes after the slider, and it's 0-2.
Well, here's one of the, there's Severino right there entering today. And go for his 10th win. Looks like he's well on his way, although this game is, we've seen bigger deficits overcome.
105th pitch coming.
And I must say, Gary and Ron, that this is one of the few pitchers I've seen this year, right-hander, that is not afraid to throw the slider down and in to lefties. A lot of right-handers are afraid they're going to hang it to the left-hander. Severino's fearless. He has complete command.
Fastball lined into center field, and Nimmo has a pinch hit, a base hit. Not as a pinch hitter. He was already in the game.
Nice hitting by Nimmo. Up and in. Fastball didn't get it in enough.
And here comes Joe Girardi. And that's going to be all for Severino.
Ron?
23 years old, 100+ pitches, Keith.
All right.
That's where we're at now.
Okay.
Out of the game. Nice job by Nimmo. That first pitch that was called a strike was up, and he didn't like it, so he decided to jump on the next one.
Jason Shreve comes into the game for the Yankees.
2 chasins in the game, 1 for the Mets, 1 for the Yankees. Fastball, breaking ball, and split finger change.
And our esteemed statistician Dave Freed points out that that is a new major league record. Most chasins in one game. And coincidentally enough, both Chasen Bradford and Jason Shreve are from Las Vegas.
Really?
That's been a big name that year in Las Vegas. They're the same age, too.
Close stance by Shreve.
I mean, he's got his back to the plate, basically.
Yeah,
He takes a stretch.
Bit of a slinger.
Oliver Perez hasn't tried that one yet. I'm sure if he watches this game, he's ready to try it.
Yeah, but he doesn't hold his glove backwards when he takes a stretch the way Ollie does. Quickly ahead on Granderson, who's walked twice tonight and flied out 0 for 1. Mets have a run home here in the 7th, 2 aboard with 1 out. Bounces that splitter, 1 and 2.
Shreve came to the Yankees. Oh, there's the shot where it's shown before.
But still, as a hitter, he's still got to throw the ball to home. So you just try to disregard the motion. You look to where the ball comes out of the pitcher's hand. You eliminate all the other trickery, I guess you would want to call it. Or
Shreve started his career with the Braves. 3rd year with the Yankees. And Granderson strikes out on the splitter for the 2nd out.
well, he's another like a 3/4 guy.
Yeah, he hides the ball pretty well. That's the split changeup we were talking about before.
That's a splitter, Ronnie. Huh?
Yeah.
And didn't do much.
No, just the
Got him out
speed
in front.
differential.
Got him
Yep.
out in front.
So 2 out. Now Cabrera turns around about right-handed, and he's hitting .344 from the right side. He's 1 for 3 tonight, had a double back in the 1st inning. Struck out twice against Severino, who fanned 9 over 6 in the 3rd. He goes after the splitter, 0-1. Mets Health Report brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Jose Reyes put on the disabled list today. Mets don't think it's that serious, and he should be back after that 10-day window. Left oblique strain. Reynolds and Cicchini called up. McGowan sent down. Reyes on the DL. Your transactions for today. Tune in tomorrow. Reyes takes the fastball off the plate, 1-1.
McGowan, we hardly knew ye.
Did not get in the game, but he qualified for the pension.
Yeah, well,
right, 1 day on the 25-man roster, and you're in.
There you're in.
Which is amazing, because remember when when you started, you had 4 years.
Right.
Now it's 1 day. It's the most successful union in the history of organized labor.
Well, started with Mr. Flood, didn't it?
Bert Flood, Marvin Miller,
Andy Messersmith,
Dave McNally.
a lot of players from Keith's generation had to sit out a lot of games to fight for big salaries. When I was drafted in 1981, the players weren't even playing. They were out on strike.
That's right.
What year was that, Ron?
81.
That's right.
That's the split season. It started from scratch when they came back.
That's right. It's the year that with the Cardinals, we had the best overall record for the year, and Whitey went ballistic
because you didn't get in.
We finished second in both.
You didn't win either half.
We didn't win either half. We had the best overall record. They wanted their extra round of playoffs back then. Cha-ching.
It was a precursor to the modern division series. That's outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. And all of a sudden, the Mets have a path back into this game. Bases loaded, 1 out, down by 6 runs in the 7th inning. Michael Conforto coming up. Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, will go out and talk to Shreve. Chad Green getting busy in the bullpen.
This is just to get Green ready for Cespedes if necessary. Oh, Cespedes is out. So the bench is. Oh boy.
You know, these left-handed specialists come into a game and they get so used to throwing the ball to the left-handed hitters. When they face a right-handed hitter in a rare occurrence like a game like this, 7-run lead, can't find the plate.
Oh, you got Flores, Lagares, and Rivera from the right side of the plate.
And Cicchini.
And Cicchini. Excuse me, I forgot about him being up. If it gets this far.
Lagares is on deck to pinch hit. First, it's Conforto. Bases loaded, 2 out. Reynolds at third. Nimmo at second. Cabrera at first. Conforto 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. We talked about it last night. Michael's been struggling lately against the lefties.
He has, and this is a tough left-hander. He throws a little quirky at you, little 3/4.
He had a double against Tommy Garcia right before Garcia left the game last night. That snapped a long 0 for 4 him against lefties. He takes the sinker low and in, 1-1.
Yeah, before last night's game, he was hitting 100 points lower in the second half as opposed to the first half against lefties.
An error 2 singles and a walk. Mets have a run home and the base is loaded. And Conforto taps one foul, and it's 1-2.
He chased the same pitch there as the first strike. Ball a little bit on the outside corner, low out of the strike zone.
One-two coming. That's grounded foul. Down past hole number 88. Tom Goodwin. Did you see that, Ronnie? That he took 88?
I know.
As a tribute to Lynn Swann.
Well,
Dom Smith got his number 22.
I like it. Loved watching Lynn Swann play. Wasn't a Steeler fan, but how could you not like him?
Lynn Swann was almost as fast as Tom Goodwin. 1-2 coming. Struck him out with a splitter. Shreve fans Conforto. Side retired. Mets settle for just the 1 unearned run in the 7th. Shreve comes in. Leaves him loaded. We go to the 8th at Citi Field. 7-1 Yankees. The all-new Chrysler Pacifica. Yankees got off to a fast start on a Gary Sanchez 3-run homer off Steven Matz in the first, and they have not looked back. Tyler Austin just back from the minor leagues today, 2 for 3 for the Yankees. Hansel Robles will start his 2nd inning of relief for the Mets, and Austin fouls back the first pitch fastball. Pass along our best wishes to Matt Rebasel, who was one of our esteemed interns this summer. It's his last day. Gets back to Muhlenberg College. Is it college or university?
I don't know.
I believe it's college.
Okay, Muhlenberg College.
Where is that? PA?
Nice liberal arts college in Pennsylvania. The Mules. So Matt the Mule is going back to school. And we wish him all the best. He's done a great job this summer.
Yes, he gets the Golden Star. Nothing against the other interns, but he has been outstanding.
How many gold stars get handed out?
Just having to deal with my luggage alone is
Is that part of his gig?
It's not really part of his gig, but he made it part of his gig on a couple occasions. Matty, thank you very much.
Reyes slugs one out to center, but Nimmo's right there. And there's the 2nd out. Was Matt the intern who held the umbrella for Keith when? Yeah. No, that was our buddy Tom.
No, Tommy's moved up.
The former intern.
Yeah, no.
Now moved up to a much more prominent.
You hold an umbrella for Keith, you're moving on up to the top.
Yeah, I guess I should have known that a mere intern would not be entrusted with the Keith umbrella.
Well, I was wounded then too. I was at the bad knee.
In battle. Jason Shreve getting the turn at bat. 0 for 1 in his career. So we had Bradford taking it bat earlier in the game, his first Major League plate appearance, and now Shreve with his second. And he took a pretty good hack at that.
Yeah, he's trying to get a hit. Severino already has one and a run scored earlier in the game. These are the pitchers that don't hit during the season. Ooh. Late.
A couple more RPMs tonight.
A little late.
And Robles takes care of Shreve to end the inning. 1-2-3 for Hansel in the 8th. 7-1 Yankees.
I believe that doesn't ever really get the publicity that I really feel that it should. The defensive part of it especially. If you throw guys out, it's one thing. They might be written up, but it's shortly forgotten. Calling a good ball game, if a pitcher does a real good job and throws the ball just exactly, say where you call the pitch or something, it works out great. And more than likely you're going to get a little ink on it because the pitcher is going to say something.
The words of former Met catcher Jerry Grote, as good a defensive catcher as the Mets have ever had.
Did you see the picture we had of him where he had both hands up, two-handed catching? That's why a lot of the catchers of his generation have those crooked fingers.
And watching him throw, as Gavin Cecchini will pinch hit, the way he came out of the chute towards second base was just so impressive.
Now you watched the games in those days. Sorry, Keith. What size was Jerry? Like what was his size? He wasn't a big catcher,
I don't
right?
think he was as big as John Stearns.
No. He was probably 5'11".
But I think he was a little huskier than John. John was more wiry, and they were similar style catchers. They're athletic.
Cecchini pops it up, and Torres two-hands it.
But Grote was far better defensively than Stearns. Grote was, plus he was an ornery old cuss.
He definitely was not a man to be trifled with. 5'10", 185.
5'10", 185. Okay.
What was he, around 250 lifetime hitter, Gare?
Yeah, probably somewhere like that. Let me see. 252.
Yep.
That's got him from the Astros, one of the best deals they ever made. And Jerry spent 11 years with the Mets, including their 2 championship years in '69 and '73.
Well, he caught that tremendous rotation.
Well, Seaver always used to refer to him as my catcher. That's until he went to the White Sox, and then he referred to Carlton Fisk as my catcher.
Oh, you got to know which side of the roll about it. You know.
Well, Hall of Famer, no Hall of Famer. Dominic Smith is 0 for 3 tonight, facing the lefty Shreve, and he fouls it away 1-2. Out of town scores brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. Patrick Corbin came within 1 out of a shutout as the Diamondbacks beat the Astros, who continue to scuffle. Reds blew a 9-run lead, and then a 2-run homer by Phillip Ervin in the 7th. He had hit his first home run yesterday and his second today, and it was a game winner for the Reds. Braves beat the Rockies. Arenado got hurt. That's the biggest headline coming out of that game. So Arizona wins, Colorado loses. Those 2 teams are now even atop the wild card standings.
He said the X-rays on Arenado were negative.
Again. As a wild card, Milwaukee with a day off is 4.5 back, and they're just a game out in the NL Central. The Brewers, they've recovered nicely over the last few days. And Smith pulls one down to first, and Austin has it. 2 out.
Well, despite their loss last night, and you talked about Matheny getting thrown out, St. Louis is scoring runs right now at an abundant rate.
So A.J. Ramos up in the bullpen. He hasn't pitched in this series, so it looks like Terry will want to get him the top of the 9th before he gets ready to face his whole team over the weekend. I would imagine would be fairly emotional for A.J. Spent his entire career with the Marlins until the last few weeks. Rosario takes a fastball for a strike. Ahmed's 0 for 3 tonight, 2 groundouts and a strikeout. Luis Severino went 6 1/3, allowed 4 hits and an unearned run, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, a wild pitch, 106 pitches, and well on his way to his 10th win of the year. And you're always interested to see how a young pitcher bounces back from their worst days, and Severino certainly did that tonight.
Tell you what, Shreve, when he looks in for the sign when he goes into his stretch, he can get a stiff neck. If he was a starter.
And he strikes out Rosario with the splitter. 3rd strikeout in relief for Shreve. We head for the 9th. Yankees up 7-1. On his best home run tear of his career. 44 home runs already this year. Has already set the Marlins record with more than a quarter of a season ago. 32 home runs against the Mets, 20 of them here at Citi Field. And Giancarlo Stanton will be in the house tomorrow night as the Marlins come in to open up a 3-game series against the Mets. Our next Picks telecast Saturday when the Mets play the Marlins. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Spectrum Picks pregame right here on New York's very own Picks 11. Note that, Keith, Saturday Picks.
Yes, I got it.
A.J. Ramos on to pitch at the top of the ninth, the former Marlin.
Well, it hasn't worked in a long time, as Gary said. A little warm up here before the fish come in.
Brett Gardner, first man to face him in the top of the ninth. Gardner had a 2-run double back in the fourth, and he takes a slider for a strike. Steven Matz went 3 1/3, allowed 7 runs, 6 of them earned on 7 hits. Bullpen has held the Yankees at bay. Jason Bradford for 2 2/3. Hansel Robles for 2 innings, but after the horse was well out of the barn. And a cold strike to Gardner, 1-0-2. Ramos last pitched in Philadelphia in Sunday's game, worked a 1-2-3 inning in a non-save situation. Oh, makes Gardner move. Haven't seen a lot of that the last couple of days. You know who pitched inside in this series? Rafael Montero pitched inside.
Yes, he did, and he had the best success. So 4-game series. Only starter not to give up a home run, Severino. Everyone else was touched.
Right to the bag, but a foul ball. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Honda. Makes summer sweeter with great deals at the Honda Summerbration at Summerbration sales event. Summerbration.
Good, you got that one. Don't know how you did it.
I didn't. That's why I had to say it 3 times. Curveball misses. 2-2 to Gardner.
Spent all that time at Columbia to read stuff that isn't words.
Well, I liked when we did the Amazing Life promo and it said tune in meow.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a play on non-words. 2-2 coming. And that misses away and Ramos runs a full count. Ramos's career, if you look at his numbers in save situations and non-save situations, it's classic closer. He's fabulous in save situations and not so great in the other ones. Under his glove, backhand play Cabrera, and he throws him out. Nicely done by Asdrubal. Against the speedy Gardner, 1 away.
Nice backhand on the run. No time to waste. Nice stretch by Dominic.
So 1 out now. Aaron Hicks is 0 for 3 and a walk. It's Brian Mitchell up in the Yankee bullpen. Looks like he might get the 9th. And slider for a strike from Ramos. I've got it. It's a bow and then 5 steps.
Oh, for a I thought it was 4 steps.
Let's see if we can pick it up.
Okay.
So the bow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, wait a second.
And a deep breath. And after he does all that, he takes a deep breath to settle in. It's a lot of work.
Poked out to short. Rosario charging. And gets Hicks by half a stride. 2 out.
Boy, Hicks hustles down that line. It's close. We've seen Rosario enough now. He's very adept at coming in and charging. Got him.
Good call by Todd Titchener at first base. So 2 out and nobody on now. Aaron Judge, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight. 2 strikeouts, a hit by pitch, and then he lined out to third base his last time up. In the last of the ninth, the Mets will have the lower third of the order due up. Darno, Reynolds, and Nimmo. Breaking ball by Ramos, 1-1 to Judge. With his 2 strikeouts tonight, Judge is now struck out in 34 straight games, standing his own major league record. And if he keeps hitting upper deck home runs like he did last night, no one will care a whit. Also second in the American League in on-base percentage, leading the American League in slugging percentage, leading the American League in walks and runs scored and home runs. So that becomes a side note. He held the swing, and it's 3-1. The Yankees move on to Boston over the weekend after losing 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox at home last weekend. The Red Sox are rolling right now. They've won 12 of 14. Judge swings over the 3-1 slider, full count.
Way out in front.
And Ramos gets him to retire the side. So AJ sets him down 1-2-3 in the top of the ninth. Last licks for the Mets. Down 7-1. Go. Yankees have had the advantage since the first, which is where we go for our play of the game, brought to you by Spectrum. Get the Spectrum triple play today.
Well, that was right off the get-go. First inning, 3-run home run, number 22 for Gary Sanchez. That was just the beginning of his day at the plate. He would wind up be the big bat today. Gets the bases loaded. Got a bases single. Excuse me. Drove in 5 RBIs for the day.
Brian Mitchell in the game. He made 12 starts in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and 1 start for the Yankees after the All-Star break. 16th game now for the Yanks.
He's been riding the Scranton shuttle for the last 4 years for the Yankees. Travis d'Arnaud leads off for the Mets in the 9th. Travis is 1 for 3 tonight, a single, and he hit the fly ball that Judge dropped in right field that led to the Mets' only run. And Mitchell throws his first pitch to the backstop. Chasen Shreve faced 6 batters in relief, retired 5 of them, and struck out 3 of them. Behind Luis Severino, who was overpowering tonight and struck out 9 over 6 1/3. Each team, the Yankees and the Mets, has swept a season series from the other once. That's drilled down the left field line by d'Arnaud, and he's got his second hit of the night. Buries that in the corner. And d'Arnaud has a leadoff double in the last of the ninth. So d'Arnaud, who had really been struggling coming into the game, 1 for 25, has a couple of hits tonight. So maybe his infield experience perked him up.
Maybe breaking ball, just a spinner on the outside part.
No, that's a cutter, not doing much. Thank you very much.
So here's Matt Reynolds, who's driven in the only run for the Mets tonight. He singled to right center in the 7th to get d'Arnaud home. Matt is 1 for 3 in his return to the big leagues. And Mitchell fires a fastball for a strike. If the Mets start to get something going here and the Yankees need a closer, it appears it will not be Aroldis Chapman for the 2nd straight night. He threw a bullpen session. They pronounced his hamstring okay, but Joe Girardi said he would not use Chapman in this game. So it would probably be Dellin Betances if they need a closer. But trying to get through the 9th inning without any of their frontline guys and have Mitchell finish the game if he can.
Especially before they have to go into Boston, right?
Grounded to the right side. That'll go through for a base hit for Reynolds. d'Arnaud will be held at 3rd. And the Mets trying to get something cooking in the 9th. 1st and 3rd and nobody out. Reynolds' 2nd hit of the night.
Well, nice hitting from Reynolds, who's hitting the ball good down AAA. He's carrying it up here in the big leagues. Both base hits to the opposite field. Both pitches down and away, going with them. Nicely done.
So now Brandon Nimmo up for the 2nd time, and a base hit to center field, and is only at bat in the 7th. That was the last man Severino faced before he was removed.
Bottom of the order have done their part, right?
Mitchell still looking for an out. And Sanchez kept that from going to the backstop. On the cutter, ball 1.
Here comes Larry Rothschild.
And here comes there's some movement out there in that Yankee bullpen.
Can't believe Joe Girardi will wait long before getting Betances up.
I'm just going to go out there and say, hey, slugger, you know, we got a 6-run lead here. Your skipper's not happy.
7 minus 1, 6.
Let's go. Get 3.
Wake up with Betty, Dan, and Byron, and the rest of the Pix 11 morning crew, Steve Gelb's best friends, with breaking news, traffic, and sports, plus the latest weather to keep you in the know. Mornings from 5 to 9 on the Pix 11 Morning News, New York's very own. Well, Dellin Betances is loosening up lightly in the Yankee bullpen as Brian Mitchell struggles here in the 9th. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. And Nimmo takes that one low and in. 2-0. Curtis Granderson on deck. There's Betances. Not really going all out yet, but he will if Mitchell continues to struggle.
Well, Sanchez has been calling for that little sinker away, and he's thrown 2 that missed the foot inside.
d'Arnaud at 3rd, Reynolds at 1st with nobody out, and Nimmo carves 1 foul. 2-1. Coming up next on Pix 11, it's the Pix 11 News, and on SNY, it's WB Mason Post Game Live. takes inside, and now Mitchell behind 3-1. Granderson next. Let's try for some late inning magic. And Nimmo fouls one away at 3-2. The only time the Yankees have ever swept the season series from the Mets, it was a 6-game season series in 2003. The only time the Mets have ever swept the season series from the Yankees, it was in 2013, a 4-game sweep. The Yankees are trying to sweep 4 this year. Next year, the teams will play 6 times. 3-2 coming. And Nimmo draws the walk, stop the swing in time. Bases loaded, nobody out.
2003, Mr. Howe was the manager.
One more batter. It's got to be a bit disheartening, isn't it? A 7-1 ball game, Gareth, Ronnie, and you haven't got anybody out, and you got the bases loaded.
So now Granderson has walked twice tonight, and he drives one to deep right field. Back goes Judge, takes a look. It's out of here! Grand slam, Curtis Granderson. And the Mets have life. It's now 7-5. Seventh career grand slam. A grand slam from Granderson.
Well, got a pitcher out there in trouble. First ball, fastball hitting. Why not?
And that's going to be all for Mitchell. Mets' third grand slam of the season. Bruce and Cespedes had the other 2. So Mitchell doesn't retire a batter, and now with nobody out, and this is now a 2-run game, they'll call on Betances to try and get the save. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. More science, less fear. Mets back in it. We'll be right back. Dylan Betances makes his 3rd appearance in this series.
Crazy numbers. Both the base on balls, his Achilles heel, but the strikeouts.
First pitch slider into his dribble Cabrera.
Drops one on the back door on him, and that's one you have to take.
Betances got a save on Monday night, worked the 8th inning Tuesday night, and now in another save situation tonight. Curtis Granderson with the grand slam to get the Mets back within 2 runs, a game they trailed 7-0 going into the bottom of the 7th. An unearned run in the 7th, and then the 4 here in the 9th. Cabrera gets one in the air to right center. This one's playable for Judge. And that's the first out of the inning.
Wrong ballpark.
Yeah. So now Conforto. He's had a rough series. He's 0 for 3 tonight, 2 for 14 in the 4 games. Frazier will move over to the right side in the shift. Juan Lagares is out on deck to bat for the pitchers, hitting in the cleanup spot. Cespedes was double switched out of the game. That's inside to Conforto. Conforto 0 for 2 in his career against Betances. Native who went to high school in Brooklyn, trying to finish off the Subway Series, and he bends the slider just around the plate. 2-0. And Conforto tried to lay off, but he went around. That's a big call by the third base umpire Chad Whitson on what did not look like much of a swing.
I don't think he swung.
He went further than I thought.
Yeah. 2-1. Little bloop, shallow left, but there is Gardner playing toward the line, and that's the second out. And the Mets are now down to their final out. And it's Juan Lagares who will have to try to keep them alive. Lagares started the first 3 games of this series, and he had 4 hits and 11 at bats. And now trying to keep the Mets going with 2 out in the 9th against Dylan Betances and get Dominic Smith to the plate. Swings through the fastball, 0-1. And the slider in for a strike. And now the Mets are down to their final strike.
Pretty wicked. Pretty wicked.
And turns like Lombard Street. 0-2. Lagares stays alive on the 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Betances bidding for his 8th save of the year and his 2nd in this series.
Here it comes. Sly Doobie.
On the ground. Austin with the flip to Betances, reaches back for it, and the Yankees have completed the 4-game sweep. Their first sweep of the season series against the Mets since 2003. As the Yankees build a 7-0 lead, get great pitching from Luis Severino, and hang on after the Granderson grand slam to beat the Mets 7-5.
You know, we came into this game talking about how good the bullpen of the Yankees was, but really it was a game for the starters. Severino now 13 times has given up only a run or less in his starts, and now the last 8 starts for Steven Matz, he's only averaging 4 innings pitched per start.
And a very impressive, I'll say, Severino, the first time I've seen him pitch. Boy, was he impressive, and a big game for Gary Sanchez, the 5 RBIs. Of course, his 22nd home run, his 3-run shot in the first inning got the Yankees on board.
3 home runs in the series for Sanchez. The game summary brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Yankees sweep the 4. Mets fall to 13 games under 500, their low water mark for the year. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Audi. Get exceptional offers on select models during the Summer of Audi sales event. By Fios. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Visit getfios.com. By Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. By your local tri-state Volkswagen dealers. By cheapoair.com. Go to pix11.com/team travel for great deals on Mets away games. And by your Tri-Honda dealer. Hurry in for great deals on 2017 models. Final score tonight, the Yankees 7 and the Mets 5. Tomorrow night, the Mets welcome in the Marlins for the first of 3. Chris Flexen on the mound. Coverage